Hi, welcome. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amanda. Today I will be reading chapter 5 of the Edgar Cayce Guide to Self-Healing. I just want to go ahead and apologize in advance if I yawn. I am trying to make sure I get these videos out even when I'm tired. I'm currently filming at 1 in the morning because it is the best time while baby girl is asleep. And if you are new here, janky old book. But let's go ahead and get right to chapter 5. I told you. Ooh. So sorry. I'm not going to edit these out. I'm just going to leave them in here. This is me trying to get some work done, but also mom life. Chapter 5. The religious dimensions of self-healing. It should be obvious at this point to the reader that Edgar Cayce was a deeply religious man. Even more, his teachings on healing are rooted in his faith, and if we are to judge from his record as a healer, that faith has been amply rewarded. If we would follow the pathways of Edgar Cayce then and make our own his teachings on healing, we must needs. So, I must say, in this book, and maybe it's just me, I feel like because of the way my mom raised me to be so grammatically correct, that some of the words throw me off, and if it almost feels like that's not correct, but someone published it, so it must be correct. But the way it throws me off. I'll start that sentence over. If we would follow the pathways of Edgar Cayce then and make our own his teachings on healing, we must needs review his understandings of man's relationship to the divine. One thing we will note is that Cayce was not a dogmatist. He did not teach a religion that reeked of fire and brimstone. He saw God as a father, and he thrilled to the relationship his faith provided with that father. He wants us then to share in that excitement, and for this end we will consider the religious dimensions of healing as taught by Edgar Cayce. Know that there is within self all healing that may be accomplished for the body, for all healing must come from the divine. For who healeth disease? The source of the universal supply. As to the attitude then, how well do ye wish to be? How well are ye willing to coordinate with the divine influences which may work in and through thee by stimulating the centers which have been latent with nature's activities? For all of these forces must come from one source, and the applications, medical treatments given, are merely to stimulate the atoms of the body. For each cell is a representative of the universe in itself. Then what will ye do with thine abilities when health is recovered? As ye give to others, not hating them, to know more of the universal forces, so may ye have the more, for God is love. Cayce believed that according to a person's faith, healing takes place. If we would heal ourselves, then he wants us to have a belief in a power outside of ourselves from which we can draw energy and vibrations. There has been aid according to the faith which has been aroused in the body. Apparently, the healing in this instance is dependent upon the amount of faith and inner understanding of the law which can be aroused in this person. Someone asked him if they would ever be able to diagnose ailments and what spirit would give them this ability. Will that the body consciousness intend or desire this to be a portion of the entity's work? It will be accomplished by the unison of cosmic or universal forces as here. This force may be raised in anyone who so cleanses his own physical consciousness or raises the vibrations of his own physical body, that an attunement is made which brings healing to others. For as has been given, who healeth all thine infirmities, who bringeth the hope, the abounding forces of love into thine life, as has been given. Though I give my body to be burned and have not love, it profiteth me nothing. Though I may be able to interpret, though I may prophesy, though I may bring that faith so as to move mountains and have not love, it is nothing. Thoughts are deeds, and as currents run, they bring either what may be miracles or crimes. Just as he purged his own life, so may we purge our own lives so that they may be one in him. And as he laid his hands on many, just so may the healing from self be for many. If thou wilt believe and ask in his name, then be thou the sturdy and staunch guide for many, as thou were in days that were counted as but not. Cayce feels that each of us are on this earth to discover God. When asked what is the lesson that may be drawn from entrance into this present plane, he replied, that purpose for which the soul entered in under those circumstances and conditions in the earth's experience in the present, that the soul might meet in the experience that which will make for the more sureness in him. For the earth is his and the fullness thereof. For as given God and the Christ Spirit is life itself, and the motivating force of the soul is either for that companionship, that association, that development which will make such a soul body as a fit companion for that creative influence manifested in the earth in him, or it is for separating self from him. For in the beginning was the Word, and that Spirit, that Christ's Spirit was the Word. That Word was made flesh, even as each soul that manifests in the earth is made flesh. That soul, that spirit dwelt among men, and that soul made itself of no estate. Yet the Creator, the Maker, the Giver of the life itself, that man, that his soul might know that it has an advocate with the Father through him that gave himself as a ransom. How? For as the impulses in self arise, no, those impulses have arisen in him. Yet through the ability to overcome death in the material world is his presence able to abide with thee. Dost thou trust in him and not in self? Or as he gave in him who is the maker and the creator is life alone, and they that put their trust in anything else climb up some other way. But they that put their trust in him are his, and he calleth them by name, and he abideth with them. When ye call on him, he is very near. Know then that in this experience thou mayest come to know him as think daily companion in whatsoever thou doest. For if ye love me, keep my commandments. What are his commandments? A new commandment he gave, that ye love one another, even as he has loved thee. How did Cayce view God? What was his understanding of God? Was God an old man with a beard? Was he the eye in the triangle or the man on the cross? In the beginning was the Spirit, a vast sea of mind force and discerning energy, occupying space all the time, omniscient. I haven't said that word in so long. Omnipotent. Yep, gonna go with omnipotent, and I know I'm butchering it. Omnipresent. This was the source of all, the first cause, the universal force. This was the whole, the essence of life, the I am that I am. This was the eternal God. The mind of God embraces the total life, and for all in its elemental form is one. All time, all space, all power and matter especially are one and are based on the force of attraction and repulsion, the positive and negative law around which the universe revolves. The movement, the vibration of this atomic structure is the manifestation of the Creator. During its nebulous activity, the gathering of positive negative forces become the creative power. Atoms, molecules, cells, and matter change, but the essence, the spirit, does not change. Only the form of manifestation changes, not its relationship to the first cause. Cayce saw God as the cosmic and universal source, and this was the basis of all relationship of individual entities. All our thoughts proceed all our thoughts proceed from the infinite mind, and he is the first cause. For before any condition exists in the finite mind, it has become a past condition, relatively spoken, from the infinite mind. And as we have in the earth's sphere, when the light from the planets or any of the elements in the solar system cast their shadow or light upon the earth's element, for such conditions have passed into space before they can be a conscious condition in the human consciousness. Again, the relative conditions in the earth's plane or sphere as related to the spiritual conditions or laws, for as would again be sought, one who would understand the infinite mind must approach that with the finite mind and such condition as to receive that spiritual insight into such relations, much less conditions. Healing for Cayce is an act of wisdom, wherein our understanding is elevated to appreciate the laws of nature and the balance of the triune in man. God is the source of wisdom, and as such is the contact between man and his well-being. In one of Cayce's readings, he discussed the meaning of wisdom with a group of his followers. We have the group as gathered here, as a group, as individuals, in the work under the lesson wisdom. In continuing with the discussion upon the wisdom of the Father, let first each of you attune yourselves to the consciousness as may be had through attuning self in this meditation. Our Father, who art in heaven, of our own consciousness, so attune my mind, my body, with the infinite love thou hast shown to the children of men, that I in body and mind may know the wisdom of the Father and Jesus the Christ. Then it behooves each to be more aware of that love as it brings into the experience of each soul the understanding that we as individuals cannot bear the cross of life alone, but that the Father in his wisdom has given to each an example, a promise to the children of man, which is indeed mine now if I will but choose the love of Jesus in my daily life, in my walks among my fellow man. In wisdom thou wilt not find fault. In wisdom thou wilt not condemn any. In wisdom thou wilt not cherish grudges. In wisdom thou wilt not, in wisdom thou wilt love those, even those that despitefully use thee, even those that speak unkindly. In the wisdom of Jesus do I claim the promises of God and now his presence. Though in those things that are not always understood, it is his wisdom that makes for the changing of the affairs of the material experiences, the environs, the opportunities for those who profess their faith to give of themselves in body and mind, that they may indeed know the wisdom of God in their experience. Know that the wisdom of Jesus, that is the promise to all, is a part of the daily life and not to be put on as a coat or a cloak, but to be part and parcel of each and every entity. This is the wisdom to know, as I purpose in my heart to do. It is in accord with that I profess with my mouth. It is wisdom that the acts of the body, of the mind, be in accordance with that proclaim to thy children, to thy neighbor, to thy friend, to thy foe. For life is in its material activity the wisdom of the Father, that men may everywhere manifest that they too may be a part of the consciousness of the cosmic consciousness. How can one attain this Christ consciousness then, especially if he wishes to use it in the process of self-healing? He, though he were the Son, earned obedience through the things which he suffered. He that climbs up any other way than accepting those things that are to be met day by day, even as he seeks through some other channel. The servant may never be greater than the master. He has given that we may be equal. He has given that we may be equal and one with him, yet through him, his manifestations in him, we live in the earth, we move and have our being. For who forgave thee thy material shortcomings, thy material errors, as judged by thy superiors at that experience in the material world? Thy Lord, thy Master, thyself, for he stands in thy stead before the willingness of thy inner self, thy soul to do good unto others, that willingness, that seeking is righteousness. If ye will but understand, if ye will but see and forget the law that killeth, the wages of sin is death, but remember the spirit of forgiveness that makes alive. Cayce is urging us then to make use of the Spirit, for in this way we will be able to identify with the Master who makes all things whole. For it is the Spirit, the purpose, the ideal for which ye think, ye speak, ye act, that will determine what the fruit of thy life, of thy thoughts will be. If ye sow the Spirit in the need of the spirit of patience, of love, of long-suffering, brotherly kindness, the lack of hate, the love is everything, then ye will find, as he has given, he the Master, Jesus the Christ, consciousness will abide with thee. He has attained the Christ consciousness in giving of himself. Though able in mental and physical to lay aside the cross, he accepted same, offering self as a sacrifice, that ye might have an advocate in the Father. Thus ye are saved by grace. The path to healing then is not money, position, wealth, or any of the other strengths admired by the world. As Cayce tells us, this has never been God's way, will never be God's way. What he wants us to do is to recognize the power of God and strive to attain Christ consciousness so that we can bring balance to ourselves and our neighbor. Leave the results ever with him to be in their own good time as he sees fit. For those prayed for must develop step by step. But be not weary in well-doing. Faint not because there are not usual happenings or experiences at the present. Know rather that in his own time the glories and the peace that comes from service will be made known from those sources that are of the greater service to him. If you want to achieve success in self-healing, then Cayce tells how it can be done. And the fact that his methodology is physical and his philosophy deeply spiritual should not hold anyone back from developing this power. I just wanted to quickly comment on that particular comment. I love that so far throughout this book, Cayce has said that no matter how you view God, the cosmic source, the universal force, that it's still God. So I've said in previous videos before that I personally am not religious, that I am very spiritual. When I tell people that I'm not, and this is not to disrespect anyone that is atheist at all, not at all. That's not my prerogative. I personally am not atheist, but I just don't believe in the biblical version of God. But I do understand that we were created from someone, and someone breathed life into us, and that someone is watching over us. So when I'm reading this book, let me say it like this. While I'm reading this book, make sure that however you view God, that you have a relationship with God. That in the sense of, it does not have to be the Christian version. Cayce may have been deeply religious and Christian, but he still touches on the fact that some people are not Christian, and it's still that inner understanding that it's still just a relationship with God itself, himself, herself, however you want to view it. And like I said, because I want to just throw that out there again, I don't mean to disrespect anyone's religious beliefs, spiritual beliefs. That's not my prerogative. I'm here to read the book and to bring people along on this healing journey that I'm going down. But back to the book. So know ye the way pointed out, for as he has given, though ye come to the altar, or to thine church, or to thy neighbor pleasing, not for self, but for others, and it is that ye may be exalted, that ye may be honored, that ye may be spoken well of for others, he cannot hear thy petition. Why? Because there has another entered with thee into thy chamber, thy closet, and he thy God that answers prayer, that forgives through his Son, is shut out. And in his name then only, For as he give, they that climb up some other way are thieves and robbers. Cayce was so solicitous. I've never seen this version of this word. It's solicit with O-U-S at the end. Solicitous? I'm going to say solicitous. Of helping people. He even taught us that we had helpers to help us. He believed in the existence of guardian angels and knew them to be more than figures of speech. For him, they were guides. There are for every soul, those that may be termed the guides or guardian angels that stand before the throne of grace and mercy. The guardian angel for this entity, as may be termed, is that one, Aurel, A-R-U-E-L, Aurel, who stood with Marcellus at the cross. If there is the finding of self in its relationships to the spiritual life and the guiding of self therein, then do the angels and the guards in the spiritual life protect those in their activities. The hierarchies are not unmindful of the development of souls through the experiences in the earth. Hence, such is not out of the ordinary, but the natural spiritual development in and through the very association and the prayer and care of those to whom such a soul is entrusted. Know ever that the unseen are the greater influences and forces of this individual as well as of most of all others. How can a person bring his efforts more fruitful than as a healer, bringing about health and happiness for self and others? By continuing to concentrate upon what we in our own experiences have found to be the blessings from keeping his laws and his will, and by leaving the results with him, or by faith in the power that is entrusted by the activity of that thought. The value of appreciating Cayce's religious foundation can be seen in the fact that such a perspective prevents the individual from becoming discouraged during his attempts at healing. He doesn't fall to pieces because he knows that there is a power above him that he relies upon and through which he can gain the necessary strength and vitality to continue. One need never feel that he fails as long as he appreciates the Christ consciousness. I keep looking over. My cat is asleep next to the radiator. Do not feel that ye have failed. Do not judge self. You have not failed yet. You only fail if you quit trying. The trying is oft counted for righteousness. Remember, as he has given, I do not condemn thee. Go, be patient, be kind, and the Lord will be with thee. It is the try that is the more often counted as righteousness, not the success or failure. Failure to anyone should be a stepping stone and not a millstone. Should a person fear that in following Cayce's advice, he will become a robot and lose that individual touch that distinguishes his healing influence from others? Each in his own way, yet the purpose and the aim one, the desire one. For as has just been given to some, the song of spheres is necessary for their comfort. To another, the beauties of the sunset in the water or whatever. Yet all are acknowledging the power of the Christ and activate forces of nature, life, materiality itself. Know nothing but Christ and Him crucified. In conclusion, then, we who would be healers in the path of Cayce must acknowledge the religious dimensions of his training. As we proceed, we will develop more at length the practical aspects of healing and getting in touch with the universal mind. But as a foundation for our healing thrust, we can only benefit and increase our effectiveness if we keep Cayce's advice on hand. Be ye faithful, everyone, keeping this counsel, keeping that period of prayer, meeting in thought those who seek, and presenting them before him to whom all power is given, so that ye all may indeed be every whit whole. Ye who seek in my name, believing and acting, and keeping those commandments which I have given thee, shall ask and receive. Those who seek to be a blessing and aid to their fellow man could and would, through concerted activity in prayer and meditation, bring into others experience what is sought by them in earnestness and truth. They themselves, through such aid and counsel, such activity, might know in their own experiences the glory of promises made in him. Then as ye come seeking for thy own brother who asks that ye remember him, that ye aid him, do so in the manner of which he, the Master, has set forth. As ye seek in my name, believing, ye shall receive in thy experience. Will ye pray? Will ye ask God in Christ to forgive thee? Will ye forgive others? For it is only as ye forgive that even the Savior, the Christ, is able to forgive thee. But if ye forgive, it will be doubled to thee in thy abilities, in thy activities, in thy improvements. Cayce offers 2 prayers that might prove of some help to those who would heal the self and heal others in the spirit of the sleeping prophet. As we try to heal our inner selves and our tired, weary bodies, these prayers come as oil on troubled waters. Father God, in thy mercy, in love, be thou close to me day by day, that in my weakness and through my strength, I may be a channel of blessing to someone. Give thou, God, that strength, physical, mental, and spiritual, thou seest I have need of, and may my prayer ever be. Thy will, O God, be done in and through me each day. We thank thee for the opportunity, O Lord, that we may in some measure meet those things thou hast given for thy children in the material world. Let the power of the Christ Spirit through those promises given be made manifest in my life as I minister now, and in the life of this body be done that, O God, as thou seest best at this time. Okay, that was chapter 5. I'm really trying to get better with the rambling at the end. But join me again next time for chapter 6 of the Edgar Cayce Guide to Self-Healing. Have a wonderful evening. Take care. Bye.